Hello, students, and welcome back to class. You all are math students. You've signed up for a math class. We should do some math. These three problems look very much like some of the homework problems that you're going to be working very soon. While we're looking at these problems, let's also look carefully at the instructions. The instructions do not say to multiply 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, nor do they say to multiply 4 times 4 times 3 times 3 times 3. What the instructions say is to take number 1 and write it using exponential notation. Here's what that means. Multiplying 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, that's multiplying 5 times itself 4 times. That's the same as 5 to the 4th power. The 4 is an exponent, so this is considered exponential notation. For number 1, there's the problem and the answer. Let's move on to number 2. Rather than multiplying all of this out, we are to write it using exponential notation. So what I see is I'm multiplying 4 times 4, that's 2 4s, and I'm multiplying 3 times 3 times 3. That's 3 3s. So 4 times 4 times 3 times 3 times 3 is the same as 4 to the 2nd power times 3 to the 3rd power. That's exponential notation. When you do your homework, I want it to look just like this. Write the problem down, that's this. Write the answer underneath. Let's try one more. Multiplying all these together, well, I see 2 6s. That's 6 to the 2nd power. I see 1 2, 2 to the 1st power, and 1 2 3 4 9s all being multiplied together, 9 to the 4th power. When you do your homework, you write the problem down, put the answer underneath it. These would get you full credit on a homework assignment. Now these also look like problems from your homework assignment, but the instructions have changed. Instead of write using exponential notation, now the problem says to evaluate. Evaluate means that I want a one-number answer. I'm going to use my red pen to show you the things that I do in my head, and my black pen to show you the things that I want you to actually put on your paper. So if number 1 was your problem, you write down 8 to the 2nd power equals. But then in my head, I'm thinking, what does 8 to the 2nd power mean? It means 8 times 8. Well, I know 8 times 8 is 64. So 8 squared, 8 to the 2nd power is 64. Here's the way I want you to show your work. You write the problem down, put the answer next to it. This you can do in your head. Let's try number 2. The problem is 5 to the 3rd power. I'll put my answer here. But in my head, I know that 5 to the 3rd power means 5 times 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. So what I would expect you to write on your paper is 5 to the 3rd equals 125. For these problems, you write the problem down, put the answer next to it. The part in red you do in your head. 2 to the 4th power. Now let's be careful. That means take 2 and multiply it times itself 4 times. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. Did I do that right? 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. 2 to the 4th is 16. When you turn your homework in, here's the way I want it to look. Put the problem, the answer, this part you can do in your head. 1 to the 9th power is kind of a trick question. It means to take 1 and multiply it times itself, multiply it times itself 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Of course, 1 times 1 is 1, times 1 is 1, times 1 is 1, times 1 is 1, and so on. 1 to the 9th power, 1 to any power, is just 1. Finally, 7 to the 1st power means just take 1 7. 7 to the 1st power just means 7. Make sure you're showing your work properly. For these problems, I want the problem, the answer. If you can do the work in your head, that's the way to do it.